So I just recently saw an article touted to be May 6th of 2022 from Motor Trend, motortrend.com. They have great stuff, cool vehicles, all the fun stuff. And they actually put out an article that is way off our basis as far as dollar amounts and prices. So they're talking about the average cost of car insurance in the US. Now, we got to put a little bit of a backstory to this because they essentially are using AAA's data, but you got to be careful. This data, even though the article was May 6th of 2022, the data's from 2019. They say the average cost of car insurance is $1,342 annually, which isn't even close. The average cost of car insurance today is ranging between $1,600 to $1,800 per year. That's not including the states that have the higher rates. So if you're in Michigan or New Jersey or New York and all Florida and those guys are closer to $3,000 per year. The data that they're using is actually really good information. So it's people that are under 65 years old, you're going to have a little bit lower of a risk, but that's the most common driver out there. They're looking at somebody that wants full coverage on a vehicle, somebody that's just an average driver. So between the ages of, I would say, 18 and 35 is kind of a good range that we should talk about. Keep in mind, those numbers don't include if you have good credit, if you have a high-risk area that you live in, if you've had a DUI or claims or tickets and all of that. There's essentially profiles for each person individually that's going to get you the rate that you want. By the way, if you are shopping for car insurance, I have a link in the description below to a company that actually works with a ton of different companies. So if you want a hassle-free way to find out what the rates are in your area for your specific profile, odds are you're going to be below that $1,600, $1,700 range. Go ahead and check it out below. Otherwise, let's dive into the factors that are causing this rate to be where it is today. So the largest piece is your age. If you're 16 to 25, you're high risk. If you're 70 to 75 and 75 plus, you're also a higher risk. The claims in those two categories or the two age groups are a lot more medical injuries in general. So the cost for insurance for that person, you can add 20 to 30% based on the numbers we have. If the average for you was, let's say, $1,600, you have to add another $300 to $400 on top of that just to get what it would cost. One of the best ways to do it if you're younger and you still live at home is if your parents have a good driving history, driving record, and they love you enough to put you on their insurance, you typically carry some of their discounts down to you. That's going to give you the better rates in general, but if you're looking to go on your own, then you may want to look at some of those companies like I have linked below. If you're the type that just wants the minimum coverage, this isn't mentioned in the article, but I'll tell you those numbers as well. You're going to be anywhere between $600 and $1,500 per year. If you have decent credit, you're going to be in that $600 range. If you have really bad credit, maybe a ticket and whatnot, your average for just PLPD, that's personal liability and property damage. That's the state requirements in almost every state. The minimum coverage, you're going to be right around, let's just say, that $800 to $1,200 range. Now, the driving experience was explained, but in this article, they used the average of 6 years driving accident-free. In this case, that's what they're saying, that $1,300, which today is closer to that $1,800 range. The location, once again, that makes a big difference. If there are a lot of uninsured motorists around you, if you're in a large city, if you're having a large commute, that location, the weather plays a factor. If you're in a state that has a higher speed limit, if you have cannabis, there's a lot of little factors. It might only be 3% here and 8% here of higher risk, but if you're in one of those zones, then you're going to have a higher premium. That $1,800 is going to quickly go to $2,200, and so on and so forth, depending on the average cost, average guesstimate, the payout that an insurance company would be paying if they had a claim. These territories are monitored for what those pieces are. That's why different companies have different rates. For example, let's just use company A might have a $1,200 a month rate in your area, while company B for you is $1,800 a month area. Same coverage. It's crazy how low risk, maybe they have less insureds in your area that have claims. Maybe they have more, or they had some major claims, or maybe they had to pay out for something major. That's going to raise the risk for that company B, and company A is going to be better. That's the main reason I decided to go as an independent agent, because I didn't want to be tied to just one company. When I have multiple companies, if company B goes crazy and decides that the rate should be twice as much, I'm not stuck. I can still get business and give you a good policy and switch you back over to company A. Now, of course, your car plays a small factor, not as much as you would think, but it is starting to play more of a factor today than it was 2 years ago. The age of the vehicle, the value of the vehicle, the crash test rating, which almost all of them are 5-star, so it doesn't play as much of a factor today, but that all plays a factor now. If they're a foreign car, how much does it cost with today's market to get that part from out of the country? Most companies, you may not know this, don't even buy the parts anymore outside and buy the manufacturer equipment. It's an additional add-on that most people have to add on to your policy. There are some companies that actually do offer that, and so that's just a matter of just researching the company that you want to go with. That's why this channel's here, and we go over that in this channel, so don't forget to subscribe if you want to get more advice on that type of stuff. If you're the person that's just doing that PLPD, that minimum coverage, then none of that matters. The repair to the car, the color of the paint, the cost of the mechanic to fix it, you're not covering that. In that case, you're going to have hundreds less expensive in almost every scenario. On average, I would say it's between $500 to $800 less expensive, so about 30 to 40% less if you're going to just do the basic coverage. Now, one of the things I would recommend that you do is don't just say I need the best budget policy I can get. Try a couple different scenarios, not necessarily full coverage. What I'm saying is that you do a little bit higher liability limit. In some states, especially when medical is required, the cost of liability, raising it from a low to a high amount, is very minimal. So to protect yourself even better, it doesn't necessarily cost you an arm and a leg. Other states, they are expensive because of the risk that they have. So it's just a matter of playing. If you're going to do more of a basic coverage, try that and maybe the level above it just to see what the cost difference is. And it might be worth it for you to go with that next level up. All right, Mark, that's great and all. Thanks for telling me the average, blah, blah, blah. How do I actually save money? That's the best thing. I'm going to link a video in here that goes over the discounts. There's a ton. I'm going to rattle some of them off, but if you want to get more specific on how they apply, then go ahead and watch the video at the very end of this video. You've got your multi-policy discount. That's if you have car, renters, car, home, all that. You have the multi-car discount if you have more than one car. Defensive driving in most states. You have accident-free, safe driver, claims-free discounts. If you've had insurance with the same company, there's a loyalty discount with most companies. Low mileage, early shopping if you're shopping at least a month in advance or 2 weeks in advance, technically 7 days, but most companies are starting to change that. There's the safety rating of the vehicle, which you can't control anyways. If you're a homeowner, in some states it matters. Safety, there's a lot, okay? Go ahead and watch my discounts video to get a little bit more in depth to go over that. Like I said, if you are shopping, the link is below. Go ahead and check it out. Otherwise, check out the discount video next. I'm Mark with Think Insurance. I'll see you in the next one.